So to begin with, there are 7 types of reading questions. Multiple choice question, which is when you read a passage and you would be asked a question and there would be 3 or 4 multiple choice to choose from. Then the next one is a true-false not given question. So for the true-false not given question, you would be given some sentences and you would have to state if they're true, if they're false, or the information is not given in the passage. Then there is the matching question. Now this is a very common question. You may need to match headings. There will be a list of headings given which you would need to match to each paragraph in the passage. You may be asked to match information that's given in the passage that you need to pinpoint in the paragraphs of the passage. You may even need to match features that have been asked in the question. The next type is summary conclusion. There may be sentence completion, short answers, and completion of tables, diagrams, labels, and flowcharts. So my first tip to you is the reading section of Ielts general module would be to read the questions first. Now this is very important, mainly because you don't have all day to answer the reading section. Time is very limited. So it makes it much easier if you read the question first, underline the keywords in the questions, and then read the passage. This will help you emphasize on those underlined keywords when you're reading the passage so that you can easily skim through the rest of the passage. What I mean is, let's say there's a question that says, according to the writer, the most significant thing about tortoises is that. So before you even read the passage, you read the question and you underline, okay, so I'm looking for a most significant thing and something about tortoises. So when you're reading the passage, go back to the passage and then read, and then spot the word tortoise or most significant or most important. Paraphrase it in your head as well. So that helps you save a lot of time reading and understanding each and every word, each and every line in the passage. However, I should mention, do not at any cost read the question first for true, false, and not given questions. So when you're answering true, false, or not given questions, some of the statements in the question are not true. You don't want that false information stuck in your head. So please do not read the questions for true, false, and not given questions. The next tip would be the next tip that I have for you is most answers are sequential. This means that the answers are generally in order. So put a tick mark wherever you have found an answer. Let's say I read the question and I come to this paragraph and I'm reading this paragraph and I find the answer to my first question. Put a tick mark right then. Be sure that the next answer to, let's say, a multiple choice question would be in the paragraph following this tick mark. So this is generally the case. The only exception to this would be matching questions, which may be matching headings or matching information or matching feature. So this really helps if you know that the answers are sequential and you put a tick mark and then read the question again and put a tick mark again, and then you know that the answer is going to be after the tick mark. It saves you time because you don't need to read the entire passage from the first to the last paragraph again. So don't spend time searching for it here and there. Okay, so the next tip is for the question type heading selection. Like I said earlier, you would be given a list of headings from which you would be asked to identify which heading is best suitable for which paragraph in the passage. Now, the tip that I have for this kind of question is that every paragraph has a topic sentence. Now, what is the topic sentence? The topic sentence is basically the first sentence of a paragraph. And the topic sentence is supposed to usually contain the main idea of the paragraph. So how this is helpful is that, let's say you're trying to match a heading with a paragraph. You need to read the entire paragraph, and you probably want to very closely understand each and every word, each and every line, and the overall sense of the paragraph. You don't need to do that. You can just quickly skim through the rest of the paragraph if you know what the topic sentence is. So the first sentence or the topic sentence of a paragraph should usually give you the main idea of the entire paragraph. You can quickly guess what the heading can be. Let's look at an example. So here's a list of headings that we have, and here is a paragraph given. So the question is, match a heading with this paragraph. So when you're reading the paragraph, let's read through the entire paragraph. A greenhouse is a house made of glass. So like I said, the first line is the topic sentence, which should give a main idea of the entire paragraph. Let's see if it does. It has glass walls, glass roof. People grow tomatoes and flowers and other plants in them. A greenhouse stays warm inside even during winter. Sunlight shines in and warms the plants and air inside. But the heat is trapped by the glass and cannot escape. So during the daylight, it gets warmer and warmer inside a greenhouse and stays quite warm at night too. Before I go ahead and tell you the answer, I need you to take a minute to look at the headings and guess what the heading can be for this paragraph. Okay, so I want to take you through each and every heading. Let's look at the first heading, temperatures on Earth. There's no talk about the temperatures of Earth here, so this is not a good fit here. What is a greenhouse? Well, they have explained the greenhouse here, so that can be a possibility. How is Earth a greenhouse? Once again, they don't talk about Earth here, so that's not a fit. Plants that grow in a greenhouse. Well, they do talk about plants here, warm the plants and air inside. People grow tomatoes and flowers and other plants in them. So that information is here. But remember that this is a heading matching question. It is not an information matching question, it's a heading matching question. So although this information is here, it's not necessary that that can be the heading of this entire paragraph, right? So that's a possibility. Let's look at the next one. Earth's atmosphere. No, they don't talk about the Earth here. Why people have greenhouses. No, once again, they don't talk about people or that, so that's irrelevant. So the only two things we do see here is what is a greenhouse and plants that grow in a greenhouse. These two information is there in the paragraph. But as I said earlier, we need to choose the correct heading, not the information. So now let's look at the topic sentence. So the topic sentence is, a greenhouse is a house made of glass. And notice that every sentence that comes after the topic sentence seems like it's supporting the first sentence. So the first sentence is the main idea and the other sentences are supporting ideas. Now tell me which is a good fit. The answer is 2. What is a greenhouse? Now look at the topic sentence again. A greenhouse is a house made of glass. It becomes very clear now. The topic sentence gives an idea of the entire paragraph, so I didn't even need to read through the entire paragraph so closely. This would be a very helpful tip. Try and practice this every time you practice your reading tests at home before the test. So my next tip would be for the true, false, and not given questions. Very important. Do not assume answers based on your personal knowledge. This happens a lot of times, particularly in cases where you see a reading passage that is familiar to you or that you already have a lot of information on. Now try not to assume answers. When you read the questions, whether it seems true or false, do not answer it right away. Go through the passage, look for evidence, and prove it. If any evidence proves that it's true or false, only then give the answer. The next question is, the next tip is, do not spend a long time looking for the answer, because if you have no idea what the answer is probably not there. So when you're trying very hard to find an answer, but you can't find that information or the answer, just put not given. Don't waste any more time. It's probably not even there, so you're not supposed to find that answer. Now this gets very tricky sometimes, so if you find yourself spending too much time, I say just put not given and then mark the question and get back to it later at the end if you have enough time. Okay, so just a warning, the trickiest types of question for the reading section is matching headings and true false not given. And the only tip I have for you is practice, practice, practice. Practice as much as you can, and I can tell you, you'll be good. So if you like the video, click on subscribe, and I'll be uploading much, So if you like the video, click subscribe.